Welcome. In our session today, we're going to open up a clinical toolkit that's going to fundamentally change how you see yourself and everyone you interact with. We call this powerful toolkit transactional analysis.
This statement, it seems almost deceptively simple, right? But it's really the bedrock of genuine self-awareness. Our goal today is to unpack a clinical framework that lets us see, with real precision, who the I and the you actually are in any conversation.
So I want you to think of this as a clinical skills workshop. We're not just talking theory. I'm going to be handing you a set of powerful analytical tools you can use to see human behavior through a completely new and, honestly, much clearer lens.
So here's our roadmap. We'll start with that new lens, then we'll meet your 3 inner voices. After that, we'll cover the rules of communication, uncover the games we all play, and finally look at how you choose your fundamental position in life.
All right, let's dive right in. The first thing to get is that transactional analysis isn't just one thing. It's actually 4 distinct types of analysis, all bundled together into one incredibly powerful package for understanding how we operate.
So TA gives us a clear diagnostic path to follow. We start inside, with the structure of an individual's personality. Then we move outward, to analyze how they transact with others. From there, we zoom in to find the hidden games they're playing. And finally, we zoom all the way out to see the life script, that unconscious drama that's driving the whole show.
Okay, let's get to our first and probably most fundamental tool. This is about understanding the very building blocks of your own personality. In TA, we call these ego states.
The best way to think about this is to imagine your brain is like an old-school tape recorder. It doesn't just record facts, it records entire experiences, the feelings, the sights, the sounds. And these experiences can be replayed at any time as distinct ego states. Right now, one of those tapes is playing, and it's dictating how you feel and act.
Now, the first ego state is the parent. This is essentially your collection of taped rules, attitudes, and behaviors you absorbed from your parents and other authority figures. It's that voice in your head that sounds suspiciously like your mother or father, telling you what you should or must do.
And here's the crucial diagnostic point. It doesn't matter if this parent voice is being critical or nurturing. In either case, it's not a fresh response to what's happening right now. It's a pre-recorded, automatic playback of a script that was learned a long, long time ago.
Next up is the adult. And let me be clear, this has nothing to do with how old you are. The adult is your rational, data-processing self. It's the part of you that's focused on the here and now, asking questions, gathering facts, and computing probabilities without emotion.
Yeah, the adult ego state really does function like a computer. It's just processing the data of the present moment. It doesn't do judgment, it doesn't do emotion, it deals in facts and objective assessment. And honestly, a key goal for so many of us in therapy is simply to strengthen this adult state, to keep it online more often. And finally, we have the child ego state. This is your felt concept of life. It's where all your natural impulses live. Your joy, your creativity, your curiosity, but also your fear and your rebellion. This is the recording of your own direct childhood experiences and feelings.
This is where our most authentic, unfiltered feelings come from, Everything from pure delight to that deep, gut-wrenching frustration. It's our internal, I want or I feel. And while it can be this amazing source of joy, it can also be the source of our deepest pain if we don't listen to it.
So there you have it, the parent, the adult, and the child. We all have all 3. And at any given moment, one of these distinct ego states is in the driver's seat of our personality. The very first clinical skill we need to develop is learning how to spot which state you or the person you're talking to is operating from.
Okay, so now that we've mapped out the internal world, let's take these tools and start analyzing how we actually interact with other people.
Every single conversation we have is built out of a fundamental unit we call a transaction. It starts with a stroke. That's any act of recognition. Could be a nod, a hello. When there's a response to that stroke, boom, you have a transaction. And what's so powerful is that these transactions follow very predictable, analyzable patterns.
Now look at this. On the left, you see a complementary transaction. An adult asks an adult question and gets an adult answer. The lines are parallel and communication flows smoothly. But on the right, that's a crossed transaction. The adult asks a question but gets a response from the other person's parent aimed at their child. The lines cross and communication just stops. It breaks down. This is where most arguments begin.
And this is where it gets really tricky. Ulterior transactions.
This is when there's a hidden message beneath the surface. You know, like a car salesman who says, "This model might be a little too racy for you." Socially, that's an adult-to-adult statement. But the real message, the psychological one, is a challenge from his child to your child. It's basically saying, "I dare you to prove you're cool enough for this."
All right, now we're getting to what might be the most fascinating and useful part of this whole toolkit, understanding the hidden games that drive so many of our recurring conflicts.
Let's be very, very clear. When we talk about games, we are not talking about fun. Not at all. These are unconscious, repetitive patterns that we play out to reinforce old and often very painful beliefs about ourselves and other people. Clinically, we see these games as the biggest obstacle to real intimacy.
So, how do you spot a game in the wild? Well, every true psychological game has these three ingredients. There's the surface-level interaction, there's that hidden ulterior message we just talked about, and there's a predictable payoff, a final feeling or outcome that is the real reason the game is being played. When we analyze this sequence, it becomes obvious the goal was never to solve a problem. The real goal was to create distance. That's the payoff. Both partners get to feel justified in their anger, and they successfully avoid the scary vulnerability of actually being close and intimate with each other.
So that brings up a huge question, right? Why on earth do we play these painful games? Well, it almost always comes down to a fundamental decision we made about ourselves and about other people way back when we were kids.
This table lays out the 4 basic life positions. Think of them as core beliefs, usually set in early childhood, that pretty much shape our entire life script. People play games to confirm their position. So someone in the "I'm not okay, you're okay" box might constantly play a game like Kick Me, just to keep collecting evidence that they are, in fact, not okay. The whole work of therapy, and of self-awareness, is to consciously and deliberately move ourselves into that healthy position. I'm okay, you're okay. Because ultimately, the real power in this toolkit isn't just about analysis. It's about freedom. It's the freedom that comes from understanding the script. Because once you understand the mechanics of your own mind and your interactions, you gain the ability to step out of the game and choose a healthier, more authentic way of being in the world.